All right, Colts fans, we are back with another episode of Colts Fancast. That's what I'm calling it. I'm gonna start getting that memorized here for each show. But yeah, Colts Fancast episode 2, where I have a Colts fan on from either Twitter or just somewhere that where I know some Colts fans and talk some ball, talk some life, talk whatever. And I have my buddy Jake Cadiente, right? Is how I say your name? All
Bingo.
good.
Yeah,
Sweet.
that's good.
Sweet. If you guys are familiar with him on Twitter, I believe it's Colts Guy and some numbers, right?
505, yeah.
505. Colts Guy 505. Jake and I have become pretty good friends over this past year or so, talking mostly music, not really Colt stuff. I usually,
Right.
we talk some Colt stuff on there, but we literally just send each other like albums and stuff. So if you guys ever want to hit up someone about like metal and punk music and all that kind of, or baby metal even is what you're
Don't
rocking.
start the slander already, man. Baby
Baby
metal's
metal is
incredible.
hilarious, dude. I'm
It
all
is.
for just how hilarious it is. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Um, but I appreciate you jumping on tonight, man. Especially after last night's win. I wasn't gonna do 2 in the first week, but I promised everybody if Taylor scored in the second half, and then he broke off, an 80-yard touchdown. So,
Right.
how are you feeling after last night's game? It was pretty fun to watch, right?
Oh yeah, dude. It was a fun game. Even the I mean, I always appreciate a good like I don't know if I can call it a shootout because we raced to such an early such a large lead quickly,
Yeah,
and then they just kind of started scoring a lot, which was not awesome. But you also have to take into account that like you probably started playing pretty far back, which led to like chunk plays and stuff like that,
and 2 backup safeties,
and
Rhodes
to backup
being
safeties. Yeah,
Rhodes. It was not
yeah.
fun. Not a fun defensive showing.
No, it was not. I was like, oh god. Um, but it was a win, and the offense showed up. Like it was probably one of my most um, favorite like Carson Wentz performances, and I know it was against the Jets and all that stuff, but the Jets beat Tennessee and Cincinnati, so there's something about that Doolin catch.
Yeah, the dueling catch. We're talking about the sideline one. I knew Nate was going to jump on here with one of
Yeah, for
these
sure.
here, and Nate's definitely going to be on the show in the next couple of weeks for sure. I'm
Oh,
going to
for
get him
sure.
on here, and then we're just going to ridicule him. We're going to have everyone jump in the comments and just ridicule him the whole time about
Do
how Quentin Nelson needs to be the highest paid player in the
That's
NFL.
right.
That's what.
Absolutely. Danny Pinter touchdown was the highlight of the game, and
Yes,
that's
it
not
was.
even a joke. It's not a
No,
joke.
yeah, but no, the dueling catch is great. I love it because Nate and I are kind of the Ashton Doolin hype train. Like I've loved Ashton Doolin for years. I still think. I mean, I think he's the best special teamer on the team this year. I mean, he's
Oh,
been just
100%.
out. Like I know George Odom was the guy last year, but this year it's been Ashton Doolin. I think he has the most special teams tackles. But yeah, he gets a little flack from Colts fans because he's not making these contested catches down the field or anything like Michael Pittman Jr. But how is that different from every other day? Yeah, that's true. That's true. We do give you a lot of flack on Twitter too.
That's
Um,
the best part of Twitter, though.
it is. It is. But no, Doolin I think deserves so much credit this year where he's finally having a real role in this offense. Like he's been like their wide receiver 4 or
Yeah,
3
he's stepped up.
sometimes for the entire year. I mean, last night he was wide receiver 3 in terms of snaps, and he has been for a couple weeks. And I know that the catches aren't always flashy. Now he does have a couple catches there, but he does so many little things right, from run blocking to just clearing things out down the field. He's their fastest receiver. T.Y. Hilton said that to the media that he's their fastest receiver. He even said he's faster than Paris Campbell, I think. So,
Shit, I
um,
didn't see that. That's awesome.
yeah, I mean, Ashton Doolin, like, he's not slow. Like I know it's Division 3, but he's like one of the best track stars in Division 3
Yeah.
athletics. Like
Well, I mean,
when he
like when
came out,
he's like on the special teams play, like as the gunner, dude, he gets down there.
yeah.
Like he's he's incredible as a gunner. I make the post like every single week. I'm always like, there's one thing you can always rely on. That's Ashton Doolin being like a phenomenal special teams gunner.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if I I know Odom last year seemed like he was leading the league in tackles, but it feels like this year like Ashton Doolin has to be up there in terms of like
Yeah, for
lead
sure.
lead league and or league lead in tackles on special teams. Like I'm hoping it'd be hilarious if the Colts got back to back all pros special teams players and they're different players. That would be
That'd
funny.
be awesome.
And as well, he's returning kicks too, so I guess he could technically get it because of all that stuff too. So But yeah, Ashton Doolin, always a big fan of his. And if you guys want to ask some questions throughout the stream here, like Nate did, just go to my YouTube channel. I think it's just Zach Hicks or something. And yeah, just throw some comments in here. I know some of you guys are watching on Twitter. Twitter, for some reason, doesn't let you guys post comments in here. I used to when Twitter was connected to Periscope, but like I think StreamYard took that away. So yeah, just go to my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button if you want to be ready for this, this every week, and you guys can post some comments there. But Jake, I did want to start this by asking kind of about your background as like a Colts fan and stuff. You said that you were born in Indy. Have you just always kind of been a Colts fan? Was that the first team you kind of latched onto?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I was born here in Indy. I only lived here till I was like 3 years old, and my parents moved down to Florida. And it was like in between. It was like Orlando. We lived like in between Orlando and Jacksonville for a while, so that was a really fun span of time in my life, being like surrounded by Jacksonville Jaguars fans as a Colts fan. This was great, and also me being stubborn, so it was like gear on all the time in their faces. I loved every minute of it. I did get a beer poured on me at in Jacksonville when I went to the game, but I kind of deserved it.
Why? We probably lost if it was in Jacksonville. Like
this was prime Andrew Luck. So,
okay. So yeah, we were actually winning in Jacksonville back then.
Yeah, we were. We didn't have those strange yearly tradition of dropping one to the Jags for some reason.
I think it's like 6 years in a row now. I think 6 years in a row.
Yeah, but yeah. So my dad was born here and grew up a diehard Colts fan, like RCA Dome members. He remembers when they came over in the Mayflower and all that stuff. So it was cool actually. To the Texans game was the first game that he was able to go to in Lucas Oil, and the first game since his last game was like the RCA Dome in like 2001 or something like that.
So wait, the Texans game this year?
Yeah, like a few weeks ago.
Oh, that's cool, man. So that
was really cool. And we went to go, and we have season tickets. I took him. We have some pretty nice season tickets. We took them, so we like really enjoyed it, and it was a blowout. And it was a really cool experience. But,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
So as I asked this with Brent last week, so going from Peyton Manning, every year you're a championship team, you have the greatest player arguably in the history of the sport leading the way. Then you transition to Andrew Luck, and it's just not the same, but it's fun. Andrew Luck's always fun. You always have a top 5 to top 10 quarterback. And these last couple of years have been very trying years for any fan, even fans that, you really can't complain as a Colts fan because you got to see greatness for so long, but you can't complain from what we've got the last couple of years. Just as a fan these last few years, has it been tough for you? How's that adjustment been to not having a top tier or a fun quarterback?
It's a hell. No. No, it's really, I did love Andrew Luck. Like, I really enjoyed him as a player and stuff like that. I am, like, when we play revisionist history on Twitter, I am like, oh, well, if we're really going to go back and do things, we're not going to cut Peyton Manning and we're going to trade away. Yeah. That's like me. That's just how much I love Peyton Manning. Whether, people agree or don't agree, that's completely fine. But Andrew Luck was great. I think it just makes me sad because of Colts really kind of let him down. He brought a lot of it on himself with his play style. Yeah. But the state of affairs now, I just moved off from being so quarterback heavy, focused, and found the gems that are on this team now that I really, really like. Michael Pittman Jr. and I've loved Frank Reich and Ashton Doolin, of course.
Yeah, Ashton Doolin's he's in the top 3. It goes Michael Pittman Jr., Frank Reich, Ashton Doolin. That's the top 3 players on the roster. If Frank Reich were to get out there and play quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Grover Stewart. I know you're a big Grover Stewart fan. I love Grover Stewart so much.
So good. Very, very good.
Yeah.
It's really underrated one tech play because people don't realize that it takes, like, typically these guys hit their peak around 28, 29 years old. And the Colts got their guy to kind of hit their peak at, 25, 26. Yeah. And so now when they gave him that 3-year extension, they're going to have him up until the typical age that these guys hit their peak. So they have a chance to extend him yet again when he gets there. So yeah, I think I love how way he's played, and he's just gotten better every year. I mean, he's cool because, like, I remember last year thinking, I was like, okay, Grover Stewart's having his breakout year, and everyone's knowing who Grover Stewart is. And then they had games against Cleveland and games against Tennessee, obviously Tennessee every year, against these top rushing attacks. And I was like, okay, like, let's see what he's about. Let's see if he can do this against top running teams. And he got better against, like, I mean, his best games are always against the top rushing. I mean, last week against the Titans, he had one of his best games of his career. Last year against the Browns, he had like 3 tackles for a loss. I mean, he's just he's such a good player. He's a blast to watch, and he's just a really fun, like, quiet, like, Southern kid. Like, doesn't talk at all either. Just a hard worker.
Yeah, he's great. I love him so much. But this Colts team has, like, it may not have like a star quarterback, but it's got a lot of players that you can easily root for. With, like, all the guys that we just listed, and Nyheim Hines and Kenny Moore. There's just a lot of likable dudes on this roster that keep me engaged, even though, we're still searching. But, I'm not saying Carson's the answer, but I'm not saying that he's not. I think he's had some, just like his career, I think he's had some moments where it's like, dude, you are incredible. And then there are moments where I'm like, please get off the field. But you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting to say the least, and he's definitely exciting. He's an exciting player to watch.
Yeah, let's kind of jump into that a little bit, because obviously people know my stance on Carson Wentz. I have to write about it each week, and I talk about it every single day. So obviously my stance is going to be out there. But I got a little pushback yesterday or last night when I said Carson Wentz is extremely volatile. Just very, very, very volatile quarterback. And I got a lot of pushback, even though that tweet was mostly about the defense being bad. It wasn't anything to do about Carson, really. So I kind of want to ask your opinion, though. Like, am I off by saying he's volatile? Like, what are your overall thoughts on Carson so far? And how do you feel about him being the guy? I mean, he's going to be the guy at least for next year, and we're going to lose our first-round pick this year for him. So he's the guy for at least this year and next year. What are your thoughts so far on him?
I don't think you're off the mark. I think I think he is volatile. And I think
it's extremely, like, come on. I think it's the definition.
I think if you just, and there's nothing wrong with it, and I have it to a certain extent. And I don't want to make anybody upset out in the Twitter sphere, but that's honestly unavoidable. So if you just take off, like, the rose-colored glasses for a second, and you just, like, really, you just take him play by play, and even play by play, he's volatile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he'll put together a super efficient drive, and then he'll sail, like, 3 passes, like, critical passes, like ones for, like, third downs converting and stuff like that. For some reason, it's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if, like, his head gets into it, and he just goes into pure instinct mode and just kind of turns off, like, the more mental aspect of the game, and then things start going south. He turns it back on, and I don't know what happens, but he is volatile.
Yeah.
But he's got games where he'll win you games, and he's got games where he will literally cost you games. And unfortunately, the 2020, I had hoped that Frank Reich had, like, just completely exercised 2021's out of Carson, but I feel like he kind of showed up in Tennessee a little bit in the last, like, quarter.
Yeah. And, he was rattled. He was rattled late in that game for sure.
Yeah, he was. And it's unfortunate, but maybe he can rebound from it. Maybe that's the last, and he can get some consistency going. But that's really like what I'm, like, hoping for is consistency.
Yeah.
Like, I get that you can be really great and that you want to be really great, and that's awesome. And sometimes you are going to need to be great. But sometimes you're just going to need to throw it to Jonathan Taylor in the check down where no one's around him for 10 to 15 yards instead of throwing it to Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah, that overtime. I remember I was sitting on the couch at my parents' house watching it with them, and I looked over at my dad and I was like, "They're not winning this game," because I'm like, like every time he touches the ball since the end of the fourth quarter, I'm terrified because he's just rattled. Like he's extremely rattled. Like another play we don't talk about is right before the pick to Michael Pittman Jr. He did a bootleg and he had defensive end running right in his face, and he fades back off his back foot and throws it like sidearm to Ashton Doolin, which he throws it. Luckily, throws it low. But I mean, he lost this over the middle of the field. I mean, he missed it low, so no defender could pick it. But it's like, dude, like chill, like chill, man.
Yeah,
chill.
he's got a lot of these. He's got a lot of these. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, so there were just a couple of plays, and I was just like, man, like he's gonna lose it in the very next play. He threw the pick, and I was like, there it is.
There it is.
But I think, like, I know I get all the messages for being like the Carson Wentz hater and all this stuff. When I feel like for the most part, I've been pretty lenient and pretty fair in my analysis of him.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think you've been.
Yeah, like I
don't think you've been as scathing as some of the other like Twitter personalities that we interact with.
I'm not. I mean, I could be like Nate and just.
Maybe we're just gonna shit all over Nate on this one.
I could be like Nate, and every time Carson has a good play, it's like, nah, doesn't fit my bias. And then every time Carson has a bad play, I'm like, this is him. This is exactly what he is. No, I've praised his good. Like, I've gone out to say his. Yeah, I've been way too soft. See, Nate says it. But I think his Ravens game, he did everything he could to win that game.
Yeah.
He had a great game. He had a couple of misses, but for the most part, he had a really, really strong game, and he put them in position to win. I mean, if the kicking was okay and the defense was good, he wins that game. I think the Houston game, he was great. I think the Rams game early in the year, despite a couple of bad misses in that one too, I think he probably, the way he's playing in that game, he leads them down to tie or win the game before Jacob Eason came in through that pick. So I think he's had some really strong games. It's just the volatile. I mean, that's just like
it is what it is.
You can't have that out of your quarterback, and that's where I kind of like. I was on with Joel Erickson the other day on his podcast for like an hour and a half. Like we were just talking all things Wentz, analytics, RPOs, stuff like. It was really, really, really great. I mean, Joel Erickson, is a guy that I've respected for a long time. I've always known that he knew his stuff, but he's really good at being a beat writer that also gives his opinion and is also smart about the game. And it was a really in-depth conversation about it, but it's like you get to the point where it's like, is Carson Wentz going to be your Kirk Cousins? And so I know Nate's going to agree with that here in the comments here in a second, but like having a Kirk Cousins isn't bad, but when you need him to go toe-to-toe with another great quarterback, you're not going to win. And that's the thing where I'm scared, where it's like Carson Wentz being an average quarterback is great. He's not broken. He's average. He's fine. He can win you some games. He can lose you some. But when that big moment comes against a big team, against a playoff team like the Titans this past week, where it was basically a must-win game, what happened? He came up short. And it's like, yes, quarterbacks have bad games, but like that was a game you can't have a bad game. You can't. So, yeah, I'm going to be harder on that performance because we're defined by the big games in football.
Yeah.
I mean, Peyton Manning was a choker for all the 2000s. I mean, outside of the one year, he was considered a choker. When even for the most part, he was fine in the playoffs. Like he wasn't bad. He just had some bad luck. The shoelace tackle, missed field goals, like Billy Volek shredding the defense. And like how much is that really on Peyton? But it's like, you get to a point where it's like you just need to come away with wins. You need to perform in these games. And
right,
Carson, I think he can, but like I just haven't seen it this year. And now we have the Colts on the brink of kind of a lost season. As a result, It's like, luckily it's a 2-year evaluation period for him. So we can kind of see it next year, maybe with a full off season and stuff. But like, I don't know. I'm still not sold. I don't know. That's just me personally. I've watched every one of his snaps maybe 10 times over. And like, there's moments where I can sell myself on him and then moments where I can't. So then I'm just like, there he is, the volatile average quarterback. That's the way I see it. That's just the way I see it.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to fight you on that one at all because I pretty much agree. I mean, and this is where I'm going to segue into team trade up. Um, a couple of guys who are going to like this segment. I also know a lot of people who are going to not like it, but um, somebody was talking to me about it and was like, well, Carson, it's going to be 2 years, but it was injured this year, so like it's just going to take him like a couple of years to get going. And
Take him
really
a couple years. He's 29.
That's what I said. I was like, honestly, man, what's the difference between that and like a high upside rookie if it takes him a couple of years? If it takes Carson Wentz 2 years to start being consistent with Frank Reich and stuff like that, I'm like, why don't you just trade up for a high upside rookie and not have $25 million on your bankroll? You know what I mean? It's like, but like I said, I'm not writing him off, but he just needs to show that we can rely on him to beat a team that we're not supposed to win. Like, you know what I mean? Like a team that we might be an underdog on.
Yeah, the Colts here are 4-5. And again, Wentz did enough to beat that Ravens team, but still, the Colts are 4-5. All 5 losses, or 4 of the 5 losses come against teams with a winning record. One came against a team that would have a winning record if their quarterback was healthy, in the Seahawks. So we could basically say the 5 good teams they've played, they've lost. The 4 bad teams they've played, they've beat.
Right.
And this is where you get into that Vikings Kirk Cousins territory, where at the end of the year, you'll look at the stats and it'd be, 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Wow, this quarterback's a top 10 guy who's shredding the league or whatever. Okay, so why is his team at 7 wins? Like, there's something not adding up there. And you kind of get to – and I'm not saying that's what Wentz is. I have more hope for him than I do Kirk Cousins at this point. Yeah. But that's just where you don't want to get stuck. And what were you going to say?
Well, I was just saying, and then you get Matthew Stafford, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who was stuck in purgatory for a while, but then, he goes to the Rams. But the Rams are so loaded on a roster that, Matthew Stafford is a phenomenal quarterback. He can make insane throws.
Yeah, sometimes you can just see, like Wentz last year, yes, part of the issues was the team around him. It wasn't good. It was poorly coached, just bad play calling on offense. The receivers were super young and inexperienced. The offensive line, after week 8, was just falling apart. But a lot of it was also Carson, where with Matthew Stafford, awful team, awful coach, awful play calling, you could watch that and see okay, Matt Stafford can play. It's just where I don't think you could say that Carson Wentz could play after watching 2020.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think you could say that.
Well, Matthew Stafford was never ranked one of the worst quarterbacks. One of the worst starting quarterbacks.
Yeah, didn't DVOA have Wentz as 34th last year?
Yeah, they did. It was bad.
Not even the top 32.
It was bad.
Yeah, I think Hurts was 33rd, though, so it does kind of factor into that team thing. But, I don't know. I'm not closing the book on Carson, but these next couple games are going to be big because, you got to beat Jacksonville. You can't lose to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
You have to beat one of the Cardinals, Bills, and Bucks to have a chance at the playoffs. You have to beat one of them. Yeah. Now, Carson could literally go out and have the game of his life in all 3 of those games, and I still think the Colts lose because I don't know if their defense can stop those 3 quarterbacks.
Oh, God, yeah. We can get into that one soon, too.
Yeah. Their defense probably matches up best with the Cardinals, I guess. Just because...
I don't know, man. I feel like AJ Green alone could still carve up the secondary and stuff like that.
I would only say that because Kyler doesn't like the middle of the field. He's very much a chicken with his head cut off in the backfield, and I'm just going to chuck it up. Now, it works. He's kind of like Russell Wilson, where it just works. But he doesn't use the middle of the field like Allen and Brady, who are just these, Brady's going to tear this defense a new one.
Brady's not even going to have he's not even going to have an incompletion.
I mean, Breeze didn't a couple years ago.
Brady is I could see us beating the Cardinals.
Yeah, okay. Matt has a good point, though. But Kyler can bootleg for us. I don't know. So I haven't watched a ton of the Cardinals this year. So I'm probably speaking out my ass with all this. But, does Cliff do a lot of bootleg stuff? I I don't think that's his. I think he's more of a spread guy.
Yeah, I think so.
So I don't know if he does like straight up bootlegs.
Yeah, but at this point in the season, you could watch any game on the Colts and be like, oh, you bootleg on them, or you do some type of misdirection on them, and they will literally shit the field.
Yeah, that's true. Let's talk about the defense here in a second, but let's go through a couple of the comments here. We got Kyle Stewart saying Pascal's had his ups and downs this year, but I still have mad respect for what he does for the team. Yeah, I mean Pascal's he's a dog, man. And my favorite thing when I talked to him once was I talked to him not this past offseason, but offseason before. I was like, so you're playing a lot more, you're getting on the field, and you'll have some games where you go 1 target. Next game it goes 0 targets. The next game is like 8 targets. The next game is back to 0. Like, do you ever have that mentality as a receiver to be like, throw me the ball, and stuff like that? And I was like, no, whenever I'm open, throw it. Like, like he doesn't care his role at all. And I've always respected that about him. Very good blocker. I still think he's the best receiver on his team over the middle, even though his hands are a little like he has really good hands until like it's just a couple concentration drops.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, he's their best receiver over the middle, really good on in-breaking routes. He's gotten so much better with his route running, good special teamer still. I think he brings a lot of value, and I think it will come down ultimately after this year to how much he's going to cost. I know Spotrac at one point had him projected for like $7 million a year, and I'm like, okay, don't bring him back at that. Like,
yeah, that's
let the Lions pay for that or something. But if it's like 3 or 4 a year, like I'm fine with that. Like the Colts don't pay anyone in free agency anyway. Like,
right? Yeah, they're not. Yeah. I love Zach Pascal. I think he's great.
He's from only a couple hours away from me too, and I watched him at ODU growing up and stuff. So like cool. I covered him in my one training camp I covered in Washington. He was there as an undrafted free agent. So I've watched him for a long, long time. So I'm probably a little biased with that.
Yeah.
Kind of like Mo. Mo was my favorite basketball player on my favorite college basketball team when I was a kid.
Nice. So now we get it.
Yeah. When I was in high school, I was like my favorite player because Mo Alley Cox. I'm telling everyone was Kenneth Farid at VCU. Like he was just a complete manimal. Like he could run the court. He couldn't shoot at all, but he could run the court. He would dunk over. He would just out physical everybody, only being like 6'6". Only 6'6" basketball.
Right.
But no, watching I'm always going to be a little biased towards those guys, but I don't know. I feel like the fan base is a little too hard on Pascal sometimes.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, well, it's because he's honestly, I mean, last year he was like,
explained so much. I'm okay to admit my biases. I have biases towards those two guys, bias towards Nyheim Hines because I love him as a human being. But he's always going to be good though. So I don't.
Yeah, how can you not have a bias towards Nyheim Hines?
That might be it in terms. I mean, Cam Klein, I have bias too because I think he's a really nice kid too. But that's not really like I want to get him. Like I'd play him over anybody.
Right. Yeah. No, Zach Pascal's great. He just does a lot of the little things like really, really well. Like you said, like run blocking, and his route running has just gotten so good. And then in 2020, I mean, he was like,
it was really good.
He was kind of like our guy for a while there.
2019 too. He led the team. I mean, he led the team in receiving back-to-back years.
Yeah. So I know he gets his hate, and people are like, "Oh, he's a glorified run blocker." But I mean, like on this team, you don't play if you can't run block.
Look at Ashton Newland getting way more snaps than Michael Strong. And
exactly.
He even outsnapped Des Patman last night. And they threw the ball at Patman more, but I think they threw that Newland more still too. But run blocking's big. It's big.
It's huge. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the emphasis on the run, but it is like kind of the focal point of this. I mean, Frank says it over and over again that, we want to run the ball and all that stuff. And you're just not going to get on the field if you can't. You're not going to get on the roster on special teams if you're not the top 3 guys and you can't play special teams as a wide receiver, and you're not going to get on the offense if you can't run block on this team.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And Zach Pascal brings with him not only like good run blocking, but like you said, his route running can be really good. He's good for like a couple drops, and sometimes those show up in like pretty key moments. But for the most part, he's a pretty reliable receiver to go to over the middle.
Yeah, I think the issues are mostly him being like a wide receiver 2. And it's like, yeah, I agree. Let's not do that. Now,
Yeah.
if he's like a wide receiver 4, maybe 3 in a pinch, I'm all for
Yeah.
it. I think
Yeah.
he's great there. Kyle also said Frank needs to tighten the leash a little bit more. I'm assuming he's talking about Wentz, but maybe he's talking about the rest of the team too. I'm not sure.
I think
but-
I've heard this about Wentz a few times. This
Yeah,
might
but
be about
I guess
Wentz.
it might be Wentz. I don't know. Wentz is an interesting dude because apparently, like,
He's checked out of a few.
a big issue in Philly is Wentz like was too buddy with his coaches, so they could never have like a firm hand with him. It was apparently what I've been told from people like last year was the issue. I don't know if that's happened. I mean, he's playing better this year, so I'm assuming it's not as big an issue. Results are much better. But I don't know. I mean, Frank's the guy that leads it all, and he gives Wentz, a lot of like leeway at the line because you kind of have to give your quarterback leeway. You can't just say, "Hey, only run my play."
Right.
You have to give your quarterback the ability to read the defense pre and post snap. And Frank
Yeah.
Reich's always been the best. I think honestly one of the best in the league at helping his quarterback pre snap.
100%.
A lot of Wentz's success this year has come because Reich has given Wentz a lot of throws where it's like you're reading one thing. If this one thing goes like right, you throw it left. If this one thing goes left, throw it right. That's been most of his reads that he's had to make this year. It's just when he has to go past that, it's when we have the issues.
When we have those issues,
yeah, like the Pittman interception against the Titans.
I also push back on that a little bit just because like tighten his leash more. I mean, if this is truly like if you view this year as an evaluation year, like I want to see what Wentz is going to bring you. Part of his whole thing was like, the off script plays, you know what I mean? Like, or when he reads these defenses and plays break down, and he's able to make the big play and all that stuff. It's like I don't really want to rein him in. I want to see. I want to see what he's going to do in this evaluation year. Like I want to see it all. I want to see the good and the bad. But
I want to see all the punches thrown against the Bucks, Bills, and Cardinals. Like
right.
I want to just balls to the wall, throwing punches the entire game because you're probably not winning those games. So
yeah. So I don't have a problem with him like throwing like 51 times. I do think it was weird that like Jonathan Taylor didn't get anything really in overtime or anything like that. But I don't have a problem with calling 51 throws because it's like if this is going to be your guy, like you need him. You shouldn't need to limit your offense at all for your guy. Like your guy should be elevating your offense.
Right. If you're trading a first and third for a quarterback, and you don't trust him to throw the ball over 50 times in a game to win, what are you doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you doing? Matt also talks about Taylor's burst on that 76-yard run. Yeah, that was. I mean, because it was Ashton Davis he beat to the corner, and Ashton Davis is like a 4.3 guy. So it was silly. It was silly.
His vision was something that like a lot of people. I saw somebody post this earlier too. Like his vision early in 2020 was like a huge question mark. Like some people were like, God damn, this is Trent Richardson all over again or something like that. But he's just gotten better and better and better, like seemingly every game since like, I don't know, maybe like the Ravens game last year. Ever since then, he's just gotten better and better and better with vision, with like what he sees on the field. He's gotten really good at pass blocking too.
Yeah, he's competitive as a pass blocker, man.
Like
props. He's not always going to make the best block, but like he gets his nose in there, man. That's all you can really ask. Like he knows what he has to do. It's just sometimes he misses the block, but for the most part, he gets his nose in there. His development's been insane. Like he's. I mean, I don't speak with much bias because I don't really consider myself like a lifelong Colts fan, but like I mean, league wide, he has to be a top 5 running back. I mean, he's gonna
for sure.
I mean, he's gonna lead the NFL, and if this continues and he stays healthy, he's gonna lead the NFL in scrimmage yards.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
He'll hit 2,000 at this pace. He's at 1,200 right now through 9 games. Yeah. He's got 8 games to go to get up to 2,000. He's probably gonna. I mean, he's got 6 games in a row over 100 scrimmage yards.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you have both Jags games left.
Both Jags and the Texans.
And the Texans, yeah. So I think he could do it 100%. He's a home run hitter. And as far as like running backs, like as a lifelong Colts fan, as far as running backs that I've like been into, I mean, I've liked him the most since Edgerrin James. You know what I mean? Like I haven't really been too into any running backs since Edge left. And Jonathan Taylor's
no Vic Ballard or Boom Herron.
I mean, they were cool. They had fun moments.
Ahmad Bradshaw.
I loved Ahmad Bradshaw.
Dude, everyone loved
Ahmad Bradshaw was awesome.
He literally only scored touchdowns.
So great. I think there was a scene where I think Trent Richardson like broke off like a big run, or maybe it was somebody else broke off like a big run, and they cut to Ahmad Bradshaw on the sideline, who's like, yeah, like, dude, I loved Ahmad Bradshaw.
I also loved fun, like it was like a 2-year stretch or something. It was so fun.
I loved Donald Brown for the Damn It Donald. Yeah. That was good.
Yes.
But Jonathan Taylor's the only one where I was like, dude, this kid, like, you know, running backs aside, like I hope that he's with the Colts for a few more years and keeps producing, because he's so fun to watch, and like he can break off a 76-yard touchdown run at a moment's notice.
Yeah, and Matt said, yeah, Joseph Dye was really good. He was really solid. He wasn't. I mean, he's not Taylor good, but like,
yeah,
he was good. He was a really solid back who had a couple good years. Vic Ballard's injury sucks. That was back when Achilles were just the death to running backs. Yeah, he had Achilles tear, and I think he played in one more game the rest of his career, and he was done. That's why I was terrified about Marlon Mack coming into the year, because guys like Vic Ballard and Arian Foster, Isaiah Crowell, all those guys the second they tore their Achilles were just never played in the NFL again. It's like, all right, maybe this isn't good for running backs.
Yeah.
I think Orleans Darkwa was another one too. Had a couple decent years for the Giants. He tore his Achilles and he was just done.
Yeah.
I was scared of that, but yeah, hopefully Vic Ballard. I don't know what Vic Ballard's doing now, but hopefully he's doing pretty good. But yeah, Joseph Dye was fun to watch. Was he the one who won the Super Bowl with the Colts? I think it was him, right? Edge was gone then.
Yeah, Edge was gone. We actually gave Edge a ring though.
Yeah, which is good.
But, that's really cool. But yeah, Edge was gone. It was like the year before Edge left or something, and I think it was Joseph Dye.
Yeah. All right. If you guys have any other questions, send them in here. We got a couple guys jumping in here. Nate just throwing in some Twitter stuff, way too soft and all. I definitely got to get Nate on here for one of these. That'd be a blast.
I commented. He was like, he commented about being on the show, and I was like, it'd be way too nihilistic and dark. It's like you'd be upsetting so many people. He was like, good.
It was Rhodes too. Yeah, Dominic Rhodes was here too. That was a good team, man. That old Colts team was good. Yeah. You know what I should do? I should have Nate on along with someone else, and I could do a thing where like I could remove you from the stream.
Right.
And I should just leave Nate in the waiting room like the entire just leave him down here the whole time.
Oh man, it'd be so good. He can't come out until he acknowledges that O-line play is important.
Yes, until he says Quentin Nelson should be the highest paid player in the NFL. He can't come out of the waiting room.
Timeout.
That's what we're gonna do.
That'd be great. I'm trying to think of you know what? Just do Nate and John at the same time.
No, you know who I should have the opposite of him. I need to have like an O-line guy on, like a guy who only. John. Yeah, John. Yeah, John. You're right. Yeah, John. I forgot. Sometimes I forget. Like, is John doing that as like a, just to mess with Nate, or is he?
Yeah, I don't know. I think so. I don't know. I've only been on Colts Twitter for like a year, so like I'm still like. It took me a while to realize. Oh man.
Oh shit.
That'd be funny as hell. I'd watch that for sure.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have fun with this, guys. We're gonna have Colts fans on each time. We're gonna just talk about. I mean, this is what it's for. It's just talking about this kind of shit with the Colts and talking about it with like fans and stuff, and even talking about, Joseph Dye and Dominic Rhodes running in the Super Bowl. It's funny though because like again, I didn't grow up a Colts fan, so I don't really have much nostalgia when it comes to Colts fandom and stuff like that. I mean, my most nostalgic season was 2018 when I first started covering the team, and they were playing well. That's all I really have.
Right.
that was the,
You were like, Andrew looks cool. Well, all right, I guess that was over.
yeah. I was like, all right, cool. This guy's pretty good. And then talked myself in Jacoby Brissett a little bit before 2019, and then I was out by week 2.
Yeah.
That Titans game in week 2, I was out.
Yeah.
Talked myself into. I mean, I was big on the Phillip Rivers coming in last year, but he ended up being way better than I thought. Even, and then Carson, I talked myself into him being average, and he's kind of done that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Carson is basically exactly what I thought we were getting, which is like not 2020 bad, maybe like spurts of it here and there, but more so like mid, like 2019.
Yeah, it's like 2019.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because like 2018, didn't he like
2018
started off
was super efficient.
Yeah,
he had
didn't
like
he?
69% completion percentage, and he was like,
yeah, he really came alive.
Yeah, honestly, that year, I think watching the film, he was a better quarterback than what he was in 2017. It's just 2017 had so many crazy things go their way. Like 2017, like they had the best third down percentage in the league, like the best red zone offense in the league. They had the best like big play percentage in the league. Like they were just like Carson's like yards per attempt was like astronomically high.
Right.
Like it just wasn't repeatable. And then 2018 comes and he's yards per attempts around 8 point something or 9, I think, which is great, but it's not what it was.
Yeah, it's not like 12, whatever it was.
Yeah, or whatever. I don't have the numbers pulled up, but like he kind of brought that down, but he brought up his efficiency and his completion percentage, and I thought he played better football. And then 2019 came, and it just kind of, it started. 2019 it started tumbling, and then 2020 it became faceplant. Just like
it was a cliff, and it just went down. Because I actually really enjoyed Carson Wentz as a player, so I would watch the Eagles every now and then.
I didn't enjoy him. I was a Washington fan. I didn't enjoy.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. So tell me how you feel about Dak Prescott.
Hated him when I covered Washington, and when I was a fan of Washington. Now I love the dude. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a great guy, man.
I love how.
I just love his story.
Yeah, I love how candid he is speaking about mental health and stuff and all that. Like I like seeing players like, man, who was it? Last week or earlier this week, Marcellus Wiley was talking on like Calvin. Talking on Calvin Ridley and talking on Lane Johnson.
Just outdated, man. Just like, you know what I mean? Like
how they're not mentally tough enough, and they're not like, I don't know.
That's so dumb.
There's so many variables.
Sorry, Marcellus Willie. I just don't agree.
Or whatever. Yeah, however you say his name. But it's like there's just so many variables to these guys' lives. And I know I've only talked to a couple. I mean, I'll bring up one guy that I talk to all the time, Jonathan Williams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Running back for the Colts for that 1 year. He had a couple big games. We all loved him for those couple games. He's kind of bounced around since. And I mean, this guy for the last 3 years has been, to Detroit on their practice squad. They promise things to an organization that he's going to play. Then he gets cut, stuff like that. Then you go to Washington, same thing happens. You go to another place, something happens. At the same time, he's got 3 kids at home, and he's continually going from state to state, away from his kids, can't talk to his kid. Like, this is a mental toll that it takes to play this game. And if you don't make it, or you need time away, or you're struggling, it doesn't mean you're mentally weak. It just it's hard. Like it's like, I'm not saying, like, again, saying it's hard on these guys, it doesn't mean like I'm comparing them to like, people in the army or something, or stuff like that.
Right,
but like it's tough. It's a tough mental. And then every single time you do anything, it's all over Twitter, it's all over Facebook, like everything good and bad. Like, it's tough, man. I mean, I'm a sports writer, and you guys saw me post those messages on Twitter today that people were coming in my DMs, and that's just, I think in total it was like 10 people, and then emails wise, we count those as maybe like another 10.
Those were real. I was like, oh my god.
Those are the nicer ones. So those are the nicer ones. There's a couple worse ones, but like, that's me getting, like 30 in the course of like a year or two. Like, imagine how many of these guys get it. They just like drop a pass in a game,
Oh, well, I mean, the Packers game, those guys were sending MVS like death threats when Julian Blackmon punched the ball out.
Yeah, do you ever remember the story of the Boise State kicker that cost them
Yeah,
their
yeah, I remember
3-year
that story.
unbeaten streak or
Yeah.
whatever, and he missed like a 30-something yard kick, and that kid was getting like this kid who was like a walk-on college kicker like was getting death threats like over so like he had to delete all of his social media. It's just like, and yeah, it's kind of like what Matt's saying here. Matt says, well, it's like he was trying to portray the tough guy image, and it's just not a thing anymore,
Yeah. Matt's talking about
Marcellus Wiley.
Marcellus Wiley. Yeah,
Yeah, didn't someone got death threats this year from the Colts? I think I saw Julian Blackmon tweet about it. Yeah.
He I don't know who, but he just said that y'all need to chill because like I guess somebody, maybe he did or somebody did. I don't know how Julian Blackmon was playing. Like he was a shining star in an otherwise very dark secondary.
I mean, if he tweeted after week 1, maybe it was Kari who was getting some.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't think it was week 1. I think it was like literally like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know, but that shit is ridiculous. I feel very strongly about mental health. I mean, I've struggled with like anxiety and depression and stuff like that. Definitely not as much as it's pretty mild comparatively to some people who like really struggle with it. But it's not even actual like.
I remember that John said something. Julian Blackmon. I remember that.
That's funny. Oh man, my favorite are when Robert Mathis calls out you.
Did you? Oh my gosh! Wait! Did you ever see my really funny comeback on him? But nobody. Well, some people got it. Not everybody got it. Where he called out me for being like a lazy beat guy, which I was like, yes, he finally upgraded me to beat guy, and not he called me stupid fan a couple years ago.
Yeah, just some fan.
Some guy, just some fan or something like that. But no, he called me like lazy beat writer or something.
Yeah.
And I didn't respond to him. I responded to someone else who responded to him. And I was like, hey, look, if Robert Mathis likes stuff to get straightway to the truth, like that's fine. Like he can just stay away from me. And people don't realize straightway truth is his cult that he's in.
Right. Yeah.
So I was
I didn't know what that was.
Oh
I
my god.
The hashtag and I was like, it's like I'm just gonna go back to loving Robert Mathis pre all this stuff. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Blackmon tweeted on 10/12, so that would have been what, like week 4 after week 4 or week 5.
So that's
probably the Ravens loss.
Ravens game. I think that's the Ravens loss.
Oh gosh, Blankenship. Was Blankenship the one getting him? You guys got to chill.
Imagine. Well, I would have imagined they would have came from you.
They would not come from me. No, hate the kicker, not the person who kicks.
Not the person kicking, right? I love Hot Rod. I think he's great. His TikToks are hilarious.
I like Hot Rod. What's his face is not in here. I told him to ask me the Hot Rod question, but yeah, I told him I would say it on here, so I'll have to clip it and send it to him on Twitter. But I almost got a chance to interview Hot Rod when he signed with the Colts.
Max asked you this.
Yeah, Max. That's what it was. Yeah, Max asked me, and I told him to ask it on the stream, but I don't think he's in here. Lame. But no, I had a chance to interview Hot Rod because his agency. I was texting the girl who reps some Colts players, and I was like, hey, do you think Mark Lewinsky would want to do one of these film interviews with me? And she was like, yeah, let's set it up or whatever. And we got it all scheduled. It was the week of. I sent Glow the clips. He was cool with them. We had everything ready to go. And then a couple days before we were going to interview, his wife was like getting close to having a baby. It was like,
that's awesome.
Yeah. It was like it was like that. It was either that week or the next week she had the baby. So his agent texted me and she's like, hey, or no, she actually called me, which I was like, uh-oh.
That's really cool.
I was like, am I in trouble? Like, what's going on?
At least she called you. That's nice.
It's good. Yeah, no, she called me and she was like, hey, so he's got some things going on with the kid. And so maybe next off season. I was like, all right, that's cool. Like, I really don't care. This doesn't matter. This is just for fun. She was like, oh, I have another Colts player though that you could talk to. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, like I'm trying to get as many of these film interviews as possible. So like whatever. And she sends me Blankenship's number. I'm like, So I thought, she's like, yeah, I'll send you his Blankenship. And I was like, oh, the kicker, yeah. And she was like, so I don't know how you're gonna do like a film session with him. And I was like, yeah, like I don't know how I'd ask him how he kicks a football or anything. Like I don't.
Hey, if you listen to Frat Boy Radio, I mean, there's a lot that goes into.
Yeah,
I don't know. Dude, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I sometimes that show is fucking hilarious. Like,
oh, it's great. No,
sometimes
Pat McAfee in that show was like if Barstool was like had decent people and like likable.
Yeah.
Like, and they weren't horrible humans. Like that's basically Pat McAfee show, which I think is cool. Like it's not really for me, but I dig it. But yeah, no, Blankenship. So she gave me his number, and I was like gonna try, and I tried to set it up just to do like a phone interview, like a 3 or 4 question phone interview, just to get something out. But we
how many steps do you take before you go to kick? What was Adam Vinatieri like?
It was mostly gonna be about like his. I don't even know what I would say to a kid. Like I have no like I'm a great bullshitter, dude. I'm a great bullshit. Like don't get me wrong. I do I put a lot of work into my stuff, like and all that. But like a lot of those interviews, because I don't prep really. Like I get the clips, but I mostly am going as I like. There's no notes in front of me. Like even with this shit, like there's no notes in front. I don't do that. It's not.
You're just shooting from the hip.
Yeah, I'd be much worse if I aim down the sights. I'm better at shooting from the hip. But
right, yeah, exactly.
But I have no clue what I would have said to Blake. So how did it feel when you made this game-winning kick? Oh, it felt good. What about this one though? Like, did your glasses get foggy? Or
there you go. Yeah. Are those prescription? Be honest with me.
Do they actually have lens in that? Like, man, I don't know. I'm kind of happy he never got back to me, and also it would have really hurt my brand. It would have hurt my brand.
That's true.
Like I tell y'all, I'm a sellout, but like that would have been very obvious that I was a sellout.
Exactly. All of your anti-kicking credibility would have gone out the window. True.
Oh man,
that was a good move for your career, honestly.
It was. I did nickname a kicker at the Senior Bowl, and he took the nickname for the rest of the week.
Nice.
Joseph Charlton, I think was his name.
Okay.
He got drafted by the Panthers, but every day in the Senior Bowl, he was kicking these like 50-yard punts and shit, like just crushing them. So I was sitting with my buddies who would do like the KC draft guide and stuff, and they were like, Zach, we will like buy you dinner if you go up him and ask him if you can nickname him Das Boot. Like just so I walked down to him and I was like, hey man, you're doing great this week. He's like, oh thanks. I'm like, your new nickname's Das Boot. Was he
just like
he was like, okay. Right. He was like, all right, cool. So the whole week, every time he kicked it, we'd be in the stands. Das Boot.
Das Boot. That's awesome. That's a movie, right?
Yeah.
Was it? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank on it now. The drinking movie, Beer Fest.
Yeah.
You seen Beer Fest where they do the Das Boot?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
But yeah, man. Yeah. That was funny. But yeah, a lot of experience with kickers in my life. Matt asked, how about Leonard getting fined for his knee showing? I mean, it's probably the NFL just didn't want to see his chicken legs.
That's probably what it is, honestly. Hide those things, man.
Yeah,
dude, they have those out. I thought it might have been because of the rampant hip thrusts on the sideline. Maybe they got tired of it. But...
the Key and Peele skit. Too many hip thrusts.
Almost is nothing will beat the Danico Autry hip thrust, like right in front of the ref, though.
Yeah.
I was like, duh, I love this guy now.
But yeah, no, the NFL fines players for a lot of stupid shit, and that's definitely one of them, right there. Leonard.
Well, it's didn't a kicker get fined like the week after Myles Garrett got fined, and then he was just like, "Ah, man, they got me too with my sleeves."
Yeah, here he goes. He said it was one knee because his sock pulled down or his pants bunched up. Like that's so stupid.
That is dumb.
That's so dumb, man.
Come on, Roger, get it together, man. What are we doing here?
It's not like he's got other things to worry about right now. He's got the Sean Watson stuff. He's got the email stuff. He's got Henry Rugg situation.
Yeah.
He's a little busy right now. He's neglecting all of it, but
yeah.
he's got a lot of things to neglect right now.
He's probably just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to focus on first,
or at all. He's not going to do it. He's going to go to all the owners and be like, okay, what should I do, guys? What should I do?
Yeah. If we just don't say anything, next season none of this will matter.
Yeah. All right, guys. If you have any other questions here, throw them in. We're about to hit the 1 hour mark, so we'll probably jump off here soon. But Jake, I do want to say I appreciate you jumping on, man. Have you done many podcasts before? Is this your first one?
No, I haven't. I'm pretty new to the Colts Twitter thing. I only joined about a year ago, but I'm really close with a lot of the Colts podcaster guys. So, and this was a ton of fun. So maybe I'll start doing some more.
Yeah. Like I'm trying to have different people. I'm not trying to just bring on generic white guy who used to cover the Colts every week, because I know that's gonna somehow end up being a thing. So I'm trying to just bring in different people who, some people who have never been on podcasts or shows before, other people who have been, some people who love Carson Wentz, some people who hate Carson Wentz. I just want this to be legit Colts fan cast, just Colts fans coming on and shooting the shit, and mostly the ones that are cool,
Right.
I don't want the people.
Not the death threat ones.
I don't want, the death threat guys. I won't have Brady Spiegel on or anything like that. Yeah, there it is. Matt literally hit that at the exact time. Colts junkie. Yeah, that's Brady Spiegel. Oh man.
Maybe if a death threat is really creative and funny.
If it's intricate, if it's a Final Destination type death, I'll be like,
I'll be like, oh, you're creative.
I'll take that into consideration. I might do that one. Thank you. Santiago asked, how responsible... I thought I lost it for a second.
No.
Okay, there we go. How responsible is Eberflus for the poor performance from the defense? He's partially responsible, for sure. I mean, when your side of the ball struggles as a coordinator or a play caller, you do bear some of that responsibility. But I do think, part of it was they were up 42-10 in the third quarter. Yeah. So you are going to sit. You're not going to, because the only way you could lose the game when you're up 42-10 is the deep ball. And he was playing with a special teamer in George Odom and Andrew Sandejo, who's been ridiculed out of 3 teams in the last two years.
Right.
So
you can see why.
Yeah, and you can see why. He's not good. So they were probably just trying to sit back and play some shell, which Eberflus likes to play regardless of the
situation.
Yeah, he likes shell, so he was really sitting in shell. But yeah, he bears some of the responsibility for continually sitting in that shell. I think part of it's on, Xavier Rhodes' struggles continuing. I think part of it is the linebackers still being just so run first in their mindset, and a particular one not playing very well every time he has to back up. And I do think the safeties were very bad. I mean, Odom made a couple more plays than Sandejo, but the safeties were very bad. Everything over the middle was so easy because those linebackers not getting back and the safeties not coming up.
But man, when that one linebacker, he is good for 2 or 3, just how the hell did that happen?
I will say it, man. Darius Leonard, I don't understand the playmaking. I don't I always say it's so regressible. It is
that. I made a post earlier.
It's analytically it's so regressible, but maybe you gotta just say okay, it's probably just too and you kind of live with the gaffes in coverage and the gaffes in shedding blocks and stuff. He's not good at either of those things.
Yeah,
but
he's not.
But in today's NFL, every defense sucks. Every defense sucks. The best defense in the NFL this year has probably been the Bills. And we saw them on Monday night 2 weeks ago getting shredded by the Titans.
Yeah.
There's no dominant defense in the NFL.
No.
So if you're not going to be a dominant defense, be one that forces a ton of turnovers.
Yeah, that's what he does. That's it. I made a post earlier. I was like, I have no idea how to feel about Darius Leonard, because everything about me is this is unsustainable. Mm-hmm. And every week he and it's not even this year. He's always been good at forcing that peanut punch, forcing those fumbles, or some just pick that somehow comes his way. It's like, I mean, at some point you just got to acknowledge that this dude makes a play that could literally flip the game on its head, and you have to appreciate that.
Yep, exactly. So to answer your question there, Santiago, I think it was kind of a mixture of things. Poor performances on defense. I mean, the corners didn't play very well either. Like I'm already kind of dreading doing my Into the DB film room with Hag this week. We might, because I don't know if there were any good defensive back plays in this game. Like I don't even think there was a pass breakup. So I don't know. It's going to be tough.
I think in the beginning, Rock had a solid play.
He had the one that he pulled the receiver a little bit late, and they called it interference, and he punched it out for Odom to get a pick. But
yeah, that's true.
I can't break that down as a positive because he got a penalty.
Exactly. But that's going to be a rough one.
Yeah, I don't know. We might do something different this week for that show. And then Matt asked, can't we have a die or Josh Jones is the other pickup? Start back there. I think we're going to start seeing either a die or Josh Jones start rolling in for Sendejo because, like, man, Sendejo playing he played 100% snaps. Sendejo again, and it's like I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's just hard presses because it's like, I mean, I think you had some film breakdowns and posts where he tried to pinch the receiver, or he turned to the outside like too early, and the receiver just obviously read his hips and was like, okay, and went the other direction.
Inside, yeah. You never want to get beat inside when you're the only deep guy.
When you're the deep guy, yeah, exactly. You want to try and like force them to the edge because it's a tougher ball to throw. And he just kind of like, I don't know if he did it, and then his back pedal like all the way around. It was like, oh,
yeah,
my God, it was bad.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we'll start seeing a die and Josh Jones rolled in there a little bit more, though. They really should go timeshare at that safety spot, though. I don't think, like, regardless of which of these four guys, while Willis is out, is playing, like, none of them should get 100% of the snaps, is where I rotate them, please. And also, Rodgers deserves some more time. Yeah, I agree. I think Isaiah Rodgers.
I comment on every single one of you and Hag's posts where I'm like, all I want is more Rock and Rodgers.
Yeah, dude, like Isaiah Rodgers, man, he's really impressed me. I think he's legit. I think he's legit, like outside corner. He's kind of showing himself to be like a legit, like he can be a legit outside corner. There's still some gaffes here and there, but for the most part, he's looked really good this year. I'm excited for him. I'm way more excited for him than I was before the year, and I liked him, but now I'm like, okay, like he can play a little bit.
Yeah, the Texans game, he really kind of like he had some really good plays. He had that interception, and I just kind of like I feel like tentatively hopeful for the boundary corners for Rock and Rodgers moving forward a little bit. Like you said, there still needs to be like
they need an alpha.
They need an alpha.
Rock, I think, is playing like a low end starter right now, which is fine. That's fine. I think Rodgers is playing as like a low to sometimes mid-tier starter. Like Rodgers sometimes is getting up to mid-tier, but he still has some plays that brings him back down a little bit. And then Kenny's playing like a really high-end slot, but they don't have an out. They don't have that like third down. Like it's kind of what I said going into the year about receiver. The Colts, I didn't think had that third down receiver where it's like no matter the coverage, who's on him. Yeah. Like, can he make a play? And that's Michael Pittman this year. 100%. Like, I have no questions about that. Now on defense, though, you need a stop. You need a guy to line up across. You need a guy to line up across from a top receiver, or you need you need to rely on someone to cover something. Like the Colts don't have that. Like I think Rock and Rodgers are playing well, and Kenny I think is a great slot guy, but like they're not those guys. They're just not those guys.
And then you have no pass rush to help you out.
Yeah, and you have no pass rush. But yeah, they really need an alpha. Like, and luckily this is a super, super strong corner class. I'm hoping with that second round pick, they look at corner heavily, and they really look at like the Colts always draft for personality, but I really want like a J.C. Horn personality at corner.
Yeah, that'd be
like Kenny has the playmaking personality. Like he's like a Marcus Peters type personality where it's like, yeah, he'll get beat every now and then, but he'll make a huge play. So you're cool with it. Rock is kind of that quiet personality. Like he'll punch you a little bit, but he's not going to be like in your face. Isaiah Rodgers is kind of like that too, like quiet, athletic kid. I want the J.C. Horn personality, the Andrew Booth Jair Alexander personality.
Andrew Booth. I love Andrew Booth in this class so much.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna have a shot at him, but
no, we're not.
But I just want like Michael Pittman Jr. is a dog at receiver. I want a dog at corner.
Yeah.
Kenny's like that from the slot, but like you want that on the outside. And
yeah.
I don't know. I want a guy where it's like personal every time they line up across from them. I don't know. Like that's the whole scouting report I want for the Colts' next outside corner.
Angry, like in your face, physical.
Yeah. Like J.C. Horn was so grabby and made a lot of mistakes. But at the end of the day, receivers would not want to play against him because he'd be all over you all day, and nobody wants to play against that. And I think the Colts really need that because I think even though like Kenny's so great, and probably running backs are terrified of him because he's always in there, and quarterbacks are probably terrified of him. I don't know if receivers are terrified of him. Like lining up one-on-one. Because they can beat him. He's not a lockdown guy. So I definitely just want to see that kind of outside guy. Matt also asked Campbell's the other practice. Yeah, Ibrahim Campbell's the practice squad guy. He could come in and play a little bit too. Ryan jumped here, not a Texans fan here because he saw Zach streaming. Yeah, Ryan, I always appreciate you, man. You always jump on here and support me for even though I'm a Colts guy. I'm so sorry about how everything's going down.
Oh, jeez. Oh, he's a Texans fan.
Yeah, he's a Texans fan.
Out of all the teams in the division, the Texans actually kind of like them. I mean, I do like the Tennessee. I like the Tennessee Titans team.
I don't like the Titans fans. I like the Texans fans the best. I like the Texans fans are legit. Yeah, one of my buddies.
Negative interaction.
Yeah, one of my buddies does a YouTube stream and stuff like that. That's where Ryan knows me from. He's excellent. I can't think of it. Jordan. I know his name's Jordan. I can't think of his last name. But he does so great. He's kind of like the me over there, but not with Sports Illustrated. But he does a great job. So yeah, I really like Texans fans. They're always super nice to me whenever I go on his stream. Titans fans I don't like. Jaguars fans. I don't think Jaguars fans are there. Yeah, Texans thoughts. Yeah, Texans thoughts. Jordan.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Yeah, I'll check that out. But Titans fans. I mean, it's fucking annoying. Since they've been like kind of on top of the division, and they're like they will actively seek out like Colts posts and like rub it in Colts fans' faces and stuff. And it's like, all right, I get it. Like you're on top right now, but like your whole thing is built on a running back, and that's gonna come down here pretty quickly. Like just what I mean.
Yeah, Jags.
I lived.
Yeah, I want to say I like the Jaguar. Like, I like a lot of what they've done. I just think the hiring of Urban Meyer sets them back so many years. And I said that when they hired him. I was like, that's going to set them back years.
Yeah.
And it's going to – I mean, Trevor Lawrence is going to be like Andrew Luck here in a couple of years because Urban Meyer doesn't know how to coach. He's just a really good recruiter, and that's not a thing in the NFL. No, I mean, outside of free agents.
No. I'm a little because I mean, not even outside of Trevor Lawrence. I mean, DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, James Robinson.
Yeah.
I mean, like those dudes aren't nobodies. Like those are
Josh
legit.
Allen on defense too.
Yeah, Josh Allen and Miles Jack is there. Yeah, and it's like.
Oh yeah, and Matt saying the 250 rushing and passing average is what he was going for.
at one point we had 250 and 250.
Did the Colts have that last night?
Yeah, I think so at one point. And
he wants to average that a game.
I was like, suck it, Urban.
I love it.
Yeah, 250 yards rushing every game. I love it. Yeah.
Ryan said Ballard's drafting he said he likes Ballard's drafting after the last few classes for the Texans.
I do too.
I like a couple picks that the Texans made over the years, but like in totality, I have not liked their classes. I like the Charles Omenihu pick, even though they traded him away now. I really like Nico Collins' pick.
I love Nico Collins.
Really, really like that pick. John Grenard, I was a big fan of that pick when they made him. He's playing well. And I love the Roy Lopez pick they took, their defensive tackle out of, I think, Washington State, I want to say. Roy Lopez, I think, was a great pick, and he's playing really well at nose tackle for them. So I like a lot of the picks they make. It's just I don't like the overall totality of it. There's a lot of the early picks I think that just are like, you know.
Yeah.
Jags have top 10 picks so many times and still can't field a team that can beat. Yeah,
it's true.
And they have the most cap space in the league every year.
It's true. They also chased away a lot of those.
That's true. Jalen Ramsey, the best corner in football, send him out. I mean, Fournette, I understand what happened with that, but like still, Leonard Fournette missed on Blake Bortles, missed on Henderson. It's just, he can't miss that many. I mean, we get on Ballard for missing like the Malik Hooker pick and Quincy Wilson picks, but like,
it's like, yeah,
that's nothing compared to this.
I think Kennan, I think that's how.
Yeah, that's how you say it. Apparently,
Kennan,
that's how you say it. Apparently,
did like a thing. I can't remember. Maybe he was somebody else's post, but I think he went through and he was like the hit rate of like 3rd and 4th round picks. It's like 1 in 7 or something like that, or I can't remember what the thread was, but Ballard's gotten like 4 legit like contributing starters out of like 7 4th round picks, which is like just literally insane.
In the 4th, he hits a lot in the 3rd and 4th. Like Julian Blackman was in the 3rd. Kyrie was in the 4th. Or Karake was in the 3rd.
Yeah.
Marlon Mack was in the 4th. Nine Hines was in the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hit a lot.
Where was Grover?
Grover was in the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hit a lot, and it's just like, Jesus.
You got to. Well, Braden Smith was in the 2nd round, Matt. But yeah, I mean, day 2 pick. So yeah. When you evaluate draft picks, do you look at success rate or failure rate? I think you got to look at success rate because most picks are gonna fail. like the average NFL career is like 2 years. Like that's what it is. Like a lot of guys are not going to make it. I think what you got to look at is the hit rate of those, or like the first day 1 and day 2 picks.
Yeah, because those ones usually have the biggest impact. Yeah,
are you getting like if you're a GM who finds a lot of like John Snyder is a great example for the Seahawks, hit so many times in those late rounds for so long, but then he went like 6 years in a row with 1st round picks where he was just missing everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, their best one, Jordan Brooks, at least looks pretty decent now, but like for the most part, they're like LJ Collier was a miss, Rashad Penny was a bad miss, and it starts hurting your roster. Now, where Chris Ballard has been so good is, yes, he's had a lot of misses within those day 2 picks, but he's so great he gets so many day 2 picks that he can miss on half of them, hit really hard on the other half, and at the end of the day, you'll leave a draft class being like, okay, we missed on Kamoko Toure, Tyquan Lewis. You know, I'm not saying those are awful misses, but like miss on those. But Braden Smith, Darius Leonard, you could live with those. You know.
Yeah, I can live with Ballard's draft picks. I mean, there is something to be said about his defensive end picks and a few of his cornerback picks. I can't even say second. I mean, like his safety picks have hit for the most part. Kyrie Willis and Julian Blackman, but I think, what did you say? It was like 7. How many defensive ends?
Oh, they've spent I think they've spent 7 day 1 or day 2 picks on defensive line or on defensive ends, or no, defensive linemen. Sorry,
6 of them didn't pan out. That's my dog, by the way, not a monster. It's fine. Yeah, he's a husky. He's freaking out. The whole fan down is here.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll wrap up here soon, but it's I think I did the math. It's Terrell Basham, Kamoko Toure, Tyquan Lewis, Ben Banagoo, Dio, Kwity Paye, and then DeForest Buckner.
And 6 of them didn't pan out.
Yeah. So
I'm riding high up a Kwity Paye right now. I think he's
so Kwity and Dio, jury is still out. Basham and Banagoo are clear misses. Toure is pretty close to a miss too at this point. And
defensive rookie of the year. I told you I was going to hammer this point.
Yeah, man, dude, he is outstanding. We just need him to continually build. You know.
Yeah, no, but he hasn't. I mean, there's been other defensive ends who, you know, Ojulari and the Ravens guy.
Oh yeah, Jason Owe. I'm okay with. I mean, you know, I'm fine with what Paye's been doing compared to those guys this year.
Yeah, all around, I think Paye has been
Yeah, Pay's been one of the better run
consistently.
defending defensive ends in football this year.
Yeah, and it still counts. I know that pass rushing is paramount, but
Yeah.
you still need to defend the run.
Yeah.
But
especially in this team where you're not going to play.
after the Jets game, I'm hooking on to Kwity Paye as defensive rookie of the year, and it's reckless optimism on that front from my end.
Let's do it. All right, we'll do a couple more here, and then we'll close it off. But Matt asked, "Are you drinking a Yingling?"
It's the only thing that's left. I had it was my daughter's birthday on Halloween, so she's a Halloween baby, and we had a barbecue. And my go-to is Modelo. I also really like I don't know if you've ever had this, Zach, but there's a Korean beer called Height, really good, and it's. I think if you'd like Corona and you'd like Modelo, you'd like it. It's lighter like that. It's not quite as heavy. But Yingling is the only thing I got left, man. And Yingling's not bad.
Yingling was the first beer I ever had. I was down in, and it's gonna be shocking that my first beer was like a month before my 21st birthday. But I was down in Mobile for the Senior Bowl, so it was like 2 months before my first birthday, or my 21st birthday. And we got stuck in Mobile, like leaving the film area, going back to our place, and Mardi Gras happened in the street. We just wandered out into Mobile's Mardi Gras, and we're like, "What the?" So we're just
that must be a fascinating Mardi Gras.
Dude, I had my like $2,000 laptop in my backpack the whole night. I'm like, oh my god, I'm like terrified. But no, so we're like walk out of like the main hotel, and we're just getting like pelted with beads and stuff. Like it's just you know how it is. It's Mardi Gras, but this is like Mardi Gras but for old people. So it's just like these like 80-year-old people, just like it was gross. It was nice. But we're like shit. We got to go to like some bars now. It's Mardi Gras. Like we got to. So
and you got beads from it too. I mean, you didn't. I don't know what giving them a show is like for a guy. Yeah, I assume very inappropriate. But you didn't do that for the 80-year-olds?
No.
Okay, yeah, that's probably for the better.
No. But so we hit a convenience store and they got Yingling, and I was like, I'm a little young, but whatever, I don't care. So I threw back a Yingling, and I was like, this is disgusting. But for your first beer, it's pretty thick. Like it's
a heavy one
it's a little heavy for your first beer. So I was like, that's gross. And then I went to the only bar that let us in, and me and Maddie Brown, who was like 19 at the time or whatever, we're just throwing back like a bunch of beers all night. But he's from the UK, so like drinking age is 18, so he'd already been drinking for like 10 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Yingling. That's the only time I ever had it too. I haven't had it since.
It's not really my favorite, but it's what I got, and I gotta drink it because I have like 9 in the fridge. So somebody's gonna drink it.
Somebody gave me a bunch of their like leftover Bud Lights from something, and I was like, oh man, I don't want to drink Bud Light. Like a bunch of.
That's fine. Those you can dump out. You can dump those out.
I drank like
no one's judging
in a couple days, and I was like, screw it. Like I'll just get through them.
Right.
A couple more here. Do you think Taylor's successful because of the O-line or out of his own talent? It's both. It's definitely both.
Yeah, it's both for sure.
But,
I mean, those holes are massive, but Taylor's vision it's just gotten so good.
Yeah.
These last like I said, ever since it's like the Ravens game, he had that bad fumble, and then he was just like, I'm just gonna decide to be a top 5 running back in the NFL from here on out, and that's literally what he's been.
Colts got super lucky that after that Ravens game, they ran into like 5 of the bottom 10 rush defenses in the league. You know, so it really helps confidence wise to play the Texans twice and then play the Jaguars twice, and you know it really helped.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, Ryan, the Texans twice last year. And then I think it's also I think he's first in runs after contact, like rushing yards not after contact. It's rush yards over expected is what. He's first.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's outstanding in his own right. I think he'd be successful behind the Texans O-line for sure.
Oh yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor.
But
I think he's got like you know what I mean, like legendary. I don't know about. I mean, I'm not going to say it's way too early to label anybody.
I mean, we're talking a 230-pound back who accelerates the way he does. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
I think it is too early to say like legendary
Hall of Fame or anything. Yeah, but I mean, like up there with like the greats. You know what I mean? Like with mentioned with like I don't know. I mean, I saw somebody, maybe it was you, who was like, possible Adrian Peterson style or something like that, or
Maybe it was me. I don't know. Maybe.
but
I think my
it's just,
comparison for him out of college was AP, actually.
yeah. But I
Like
mean,
a
I could see it. I could see it.
not as violent AP, but like AP.
Yeah. Who we now have to play against the Titans, but
well, we don't play him this year. We're not playing him again this year.
That's true. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, I just think if he continues, like he's just gonna be he's a superstar. Gonna be a superstar for a long time.
Yeah. Let's throw a couple more up here, and these are I don't think any of these are questions, just comments, and we'll end it off. But Matt says I think he had 6. This is about Kwity Paye, 6 pressures last night and 7 in the other games combined. Jets line, it really helps, and progression. Because I think he had 1 in the first 2 games he played.
Yeah.
Maybe in the first 3 games he played, he only had 1 combined. So just that progression is all we want to see. Nate says future Hall of Famer, Kwity Paye.
Yes, Nate. I'm here to spread the message. Tell Robert as well.
Matt says, saw someone on Twitter say Taylor is 9th. I'm assuming this is Pro Football Focus rankings. Don't listen to their grades. I've seen the process. One of my buddies has access to like Pro Football Focus, like Extreme or something like that. I
thought about buying that, by the way, but I was like,
yeah. Well, I have Ultimate, which gives you all the advanced stats, but this thing is like above, where it shows you their individual grades on each play. And I've seen some of the things that they grade negative, and I'm out on their grades. I'm out. I can't do it. Yeah. So I joke about the grades still sometimes, but I'm not. I love their advanced stats still. I think they're good, but
my problem with their grades is what they bring to like Twitter arguments. Like it just gives people like a shallow, like just baseline without actually doing any homework, and they're just like, wow, his grade was shit, so he was shit, or his grade was awesome, so he was awesome. It's like, was way more nuanced than that. Like,
here's the NFL. You can quantify the NFL. You can use analytics and you can quantify this game, but you can't quantify it all into one grade. Like that's not
too hard.
There's too much circumstance. There's too much of knowing what you have to like. It's just you can't do it. It's about so like you can give general grades and stuff. Be like, oh yeah, this guy had a good performance or something. But it's like, to go this guy's an 85, this one's an 84, this one's an 83. It's like, no.
Yeah, sorry, my daughter.
Yeah, your kid there.
This is my little one right here. Say hi.
Hi.
Say hi. Tens of people are watching right.
Probably on Twitter, maybe. We're getting some people. Was it her birthday that was the other day?
Yeah, this is her birthday. How old are you now? Do you remember? You don't remember? Yeah. Can you hold it up? There's 2, and then you got 3. She's rocking out.
That's so much hair for 3. It took me until
I know.
Never. Well, I never got that hair.
Do you see the resemblance, really?
Yeah, the hair. That's what it's all it is.
I get strange looks at the restaurant, like, is he kidnapping her? You look more like your mom. I'll be right there, okay?
Yeah, we're about to come off. Nice to meet you.
Say bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 22 miles per hour on Taylor's run, and then Ryan said, "Gotta let the rookies grow before you declare anything." Yeah, for sure, guys. Well, shit, I appreciate you guys tuning in for this long here, hour and 20 minutes. We did.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be open with this type of show though, and just let it go. Whatever. If some episodes are 20 minutes long, if others are 2 hours.
Dude, this was a lot of fun. I highly recommend. If anybody's thinking about joining, this was a lot of fun, and
no pressure. Just come on and talk some Colts ball, and we'll have a bunch of people on, especially in the off season. I want to do a lot with this in the off season because I got nothing to do with this channel. So
we'll do draft boards because I'm putting like a mid-season draft board together right now.
Heck yeah, man.
And maybe in the off season, if you have another like show or anything, dude, I'll hop on and you can laugh at all my draft.
No, you want it? No, you don't. Yeah, you want them on.
This is where I get all my knowledge from, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I can tell.
Yeah,
she's the smart one for sure. Oh yeah, Ryan, we're gonna do some draft episodes and stuff on here, and then also on the Horseshoe Huddles YouTube channel. They do a lot of draft stuff and do a lot of she's like making my mouth. She's so cute. We'll do a lot of draft stuff though. On the Horseshoe Huddle stuff, I'll do a lot of prospect interviews. Me and Hag already have some stuff planned for that too. So yeah, check that out there, Ryan. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in for the hour 20 minutes. Special shout outs to Ryan, Matt, Nate. There's a couple others that were up here too. Ryan, Matt, Nate, Santiago. Great question in there too. Yeah, but you guys for sticking out for as long as you did. Really appreciate it, guys. But yeah, tune in back next week. I think my next week guest is, I want to say it's going to be Jeremy next week.
Oh, that's cool.
Jeremy
My Colts account, Jeremy?
Yep.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be Jeremy next week. So talk with a Canadian dude, make fun of his accent a little bit. Yeah, guys, I think that'll be on like Friday-ish, but I'll keep you guys updated throughout the week. But again, appreciate you guys tuning in, and catch you next week here on the Colts Fancast.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, Zach.